Are WWE trying to cancel AEW and have John Cena go head-to-head with AEW? That is the top talking point on today's live Q&A. That's right. Get involved with your questions nice and early and all things WWE. We can talk about everything else as well if you like also. But yes, let's go in with that top topic then. Pretty much the rumors coming out, and this Dave Meltzer's the one that's come out with this, saying that with WWE, they want TNA to be the number 2 wrestling promotion. They do not want AEW to get another television deal, because if they get another television deal with strong numbers, that's it. They're not going to be able to go away after that. They're always going to be around. So for that reason, WWE want to get a new number 2 in place. And if they keep going head to head with AEW like they did with All In, then hopefully they can make their numbers worse, even if they make their own numbers worse, because they're fine for the time period. That's what WWE wants to do. So this is why right now rumors are suggesting, not confirmed, but pretty much is expected at this point, there will be a head-to-head with AEW All Out in September 25th, which I think takes place in Toronto. We're going to have John Cena versus Brock Lesnar on that show. Of course, the match that was set from SummerSlam, which probably arguably should have been at Clash in Paris, but instead has been held back because they purposely wanted to go head-to-head with AEW, which is why Logan Paul has got the shout. But before I go over to you, this goes one step further. NBC want John Cena's retirement match to be on December 13th in Boston, of course, for Saturday night's main event. WWE potentially could be holding back that retirement match because John Cena's retirement match could be going head-to-head with AEW's World's End pay-per-view. Talk about World's End. It really would be with John Cena's last match. But what's your take on all this? Are WWE trying to cancel AEW?
I mean, look, it's stupid because you literally think, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll run my show against AEW just so they don't get as many viewers. You know it works both ways, right? Because there are people who probably do watch both sets of content that sit there and go, why would I want to watch John Cena versus Brock Lesnar for the bajillionth time when I can go and watch AEW, which will probably be more entertaining? I get that there's still a build to come for that Cena-Lesnar match. I don't care about another Cena-Lesnar match. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I don't think it's not the right thing to put up against AEW because most people will just switch the channel. Look, it's what rival companies doing it. It's like Pepsi versus Coke, or it's like Adidas versus Nike. You always try to one up your opponents and trying to TNA have got to get a TV deal first before they even worry about trying to get TNA. TNA hasn't had a TV deal in how many years now? They're still trying to sort one out, so they need to get one first before they can even consider making them the number 2 brand, which at the end of the day, they're going to end up buying them as well. So that it'll probably just at some point be integrated with NXT, and it'll just, you know what I mean, we'll get a unification. TNA will no longer exist just because WWE want the back catalogue. But it's all silly. The only one you probably really have to worry about is Cena's retirement match. I personally think the guy should still go out. I mean, you are, do you know what I mean, one of the GOATs. You are a 17-time world champion. To go out in December just seems really random. You've almost, like you said, he's like when he banged on about competing in the chamber. I've earned that right to be in the elimination chamber. You've earned that right to go out on the grandest stage of them all. And look, they could still do it and say, oh, we're going to put a show on at the same time as Worlds Collide, and this will be John Cena's last ever match, and still do a match at WrestleMania because it will be a surprise. It would just be one way to stick it to AEW, but I don't think AEW has anything to worry about. AEW has their fans now. It's not like people are going to sit there and go, oh, I'll go and watch WWE, because the hardcore AEW fans watch AEW. It's only for a case of whatever you're booking, which may draw more people to it. And I just don't think Cena versus Lesnar is it.
I mean, obviously, I think from a casual fan standpoint, I think that Cena versus Lesnar will draw. I don't think that everyone is fully aware of perhaps some of those allegations that are out there that may include Brock Lesnar's name. So I think from a casual standpoint, that will still draw. I think from a wrestling fan perspective, I think it leaves a bit of a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But at the same time, I would say that I do feel it's a dangerous move that WWE are trying to do here for AEW because it's not good for the wrestling business in general. Think of the amount of people that could lose work should they succeed and get their way. I don't think they will. I think it's too late. I think that, like you said, AEW's got their fan base. They've had TV deal going on for more than 5 years now. They've been going longer than WCW. They're a very profitable company as well. Yes, I mean, look, TNA, like you say, they have a TV deal, but it's not a strong TV deal. They're probably going to get a much stronger TV deal on the basis of these current negotiations they have going on, purely because, I mean, their TNA World Champion was at WrestleMania. They're having, crossover with NXT on a weekly basis. They have stuff that's going on that highlights them in a better way. And you look at their Slammiversary show was in the UBS Arena in of course, Long Island, New York, which is quite a sizable venue. I think it was like 7,000 people in attendance. But at the same time, yes, WWE, if they were to get TNA as the number 2 promotion, they would pretty much have their way because they would have they have their fun over TNA. They can make TNA kind of do what they want at this point with this working relationship. So it just feels to me that it's a dirty game. And like you say, it's done in all industries of life. It's not something that's seen as abnormal. It's just the fact that as much as the WWE fan is in me, I'm a fan of professional wrestling. I want to see as many promotions out there as possible, alternatives. Not everyone likes WWE, so you want them to see everything else that's out there for everyone to get their glimpse, whether it's 5-star matches in the Tokyo Dome or whether it's some gimmick matches that may be taking place on indie shows. I want all of it to succeed and I want all of it to thrive. And I think that personally, this is one that WWE will not succeed at. They may harm a few numbers, but AEW can counter that and say, look, we still have these numbers despite going head-to-head against WWE and still doing okay because according to the all-in results, they did pretty darn well still with their pay-per-view buys.
Yeah, and even like things like Forbidden Door coming up, that's almost sold out in the O2. It's not like they're not. They need to work on the little things like All In Texas didn't sell out. The 2 All-Ins in London haven't really sold out, but the first one we'll put down to the fact that they were brave enough to go to Wembley and say we want to put on the biggest wrestling show ever. There's a few maybe geographical problems that they need to work out when coming to putting on shows, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think the biggest winner is actually TNA because, like you said, TNA get that WWE rub, which ultimately will then get them a better TV deal, which is why JC Jane and Trick Williams have been able to win their top championships because TNA are getting a WWE rub. They're Bound for Glory, their most recent pay-per-view, was like their biggest pay-per-view buy in 15 years or something like that, some crazy whatever amount of time. I don't know the exact time. TNA are winning ultimately, but I honestly don't think that AEW has anything to worry about. They have the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion, in Will Ospreay, who will continue to put on 5-star classics. They are not afraid to push the limits and boundaries when it comes to certain things like hardcore violence, because just for the pure fact that they do a lot of stuff. We've seen people get injected with stuff during wrestling matches. We get whatever else. They're not afraid of it. And there's a diehard fan base there, very attitude era, that still love that stuff. And you'll get newer fans that, look, they've grown with the product and they've seen AEW go from being this wrestling promo to almost an alternative wrestling promo. Think ECW, I forget the one that was it XPW or something like that that used to be on MTV or whatever it was. You know what I mean? The AEW are the alternative to a WWE. You can't replace something that doesn't produce the same stuff like that. And look, let's be honest, WWE are not knocking it out of the park at the minute. I don't personally think SummerSlam was a massive success. I think for a 2-night show, I think night one, aside from like the main event, aside from like, what was the main event? No, it wasn't the main event. It's like one match on night one I thought was really well done. Do you know what I mean? So they're not exactly hitting everything out of the park. If they were putting on 10 out of 10 shows every week, Raw and SmackDown were absolute knockout shows, were must watch. NXT is like the only decent TV show that's concurrently doing well, I think, for me, out of all the 3 of them. the pay-per-views, yeah, SummerSlam was a bit of a flop. Their B shows are probably doing better than their A shows at the minute. So yeah, they're not doing themselves any favor by running it against AEW, because ultimately, you look. I know we're not in the buy rate era anymore, but if people have got an option between watching two of them, and people like AEW, they're going to watch AEW. You're just kicking yourself. All you've done is made your product more readily available, where people are going to go, I'm going to watch AEW live because there's nowhere really for me to watch that back, especially with the last pay-per-view. I'm sure it was on Amazon Prime. And they'll go, I'll just watch SummerSlam on Netflix tomorrow or whatever. Like, I'll just watch it on catch-up.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that option is there. You know, you don't have to watch everything live with WWE anymore if it's going to be on these streaming platforms. Obviously, the ESPN stuff has been announced, which has been mentioned in our comments. We'll get to that very soon. And thanks everyone for the questions and comments so far. They're coming. We'll be turning to you in just a couple of minutes' time. But you mentioned there a moment ago, and I completely agree. I mean, WWE's oversaturating their product. So many different shows now being thrown out just to do counterproductive stuff on top of what they'd already announced. So it becomes to a point that it is harming their own product at this point. Like you say, TNA always feels like they will be the big winners, because even if they're the number 3 wrestling promotion with 7,000 fans in attendance for the Slammiversaries, do the same again in Lowell, Massachusetts for Bound for Glory. They have something they're going to really grow from and really prosper from, which will be great for them. And to be fair, it's great for the wrestling fan as well that gets to see that. But like you said, AEW are going to be fine. They're on Max, for goodness sakes. They're in the States, which is great for them. Hopefully that's going to be international from next year. That definitely do me a lot of favors to try and keep up the AEW products at the minute. But like you say, Prime being involved as well, they've got their placements also for these shows. So it's going to be interesting to see how it will all play out. But I think the WWE are trying something that's not going to succeed here.
Yeah, I think if AEW can carry on getting their pay-per-views on Prime, I think that's a massive win, because the amount of people that have Amazon Prime anyway, yes, I know you have to pay for it, but Amazon Prime is so regularly available to people around the world that, like, do you know, before having to watch it on like the Zone or wherever else they were trying to put these shows on, they carry on putting them on Prime. Look, 10, 15 quid, whatever we pay over here. Yes, I know it's very 2000s with having to buy a pay-per-view again, but it's like, look, it's their business model. It's how they're having to do it. They don't have the benefits of having a WWE network or a streaming service that's willing to put their shows on every week and stream all their pay-per-views live. Maybe one day that would be nice. And you know what I mean? If Amazon Prime could get Dynamite and Collision, like, it's what they're having to go for at the minute. Like, let's be honest. We've said it many times that we don't watch Ring of Honor just because you have to subscribe to our Ring of Honor TV to watch it. And yes, there are nefarious ways to go and watch it if you want to, but look, there is too much wrestling to watch anyway. Why am I going to sit there and go and pay, I don't know, £10, £15, $20, whatever it is a month to watch ROH TV when I can't even watch everything that's currently on TV?
Exactly. It's sometimes very hard to keep up with everything, so that actually then find more things on top is going to be interesting. Speaking of which, Triple Mania is on this weekend. Should be really exciting. Give my little take on that earlier on.
For free.
It's on YouTube for free, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll give my prediction in the short of where I think that Mega Championship could be going. But apparently, according to James, is getting some comments, by the way, because a lot of great comments and questions have come in. James in the house, thank you for joining us. It says WWE sign Microman. Yes, and of course, a lot of I saw that on X, and as well, lots of merchandise has just been dropped, including Mr. Iguana on WWE Shop as well. So they're getting in the right time to getting more people, more eyes on the prize. Could AAA become that fourth biggest promotion, perhaps maybe, in the wrestling world? WWE obviously have got a lot of fingers in a lot of different pies right now.
I think, honestly, the WWE roster will benefit from AAA, but just for the pure fact that, especially a lot of these lucha wrestlers, your Dragon Lees, your Santos Escobars, your Andrades, there's somewhere for them to go, and it's like they're already pre-established stars in AAA because they've either been there before and people know them, but people like, say, Andrade can go in there and be a AAA champion, even though it's probably going to be Dirty Dom. Do you know what I mean? It's just a place for a lot of them to go. Like, I think Dragon Lee's or the Miz's contracts are the ones that are up next. And if I'm Dragon Lee, why would I stay in WWE? I'm getting no screen time. Like when he was in NXT, he was doing so well. Another one that's rushed to main roster. He could probably go to AEW and do some stuff. But then again, like I said, we're now with AAA. If he re-signs, I'll just go to AAA for a while. I'm a massive star in AAA. Who's going to benefit from that? AAA is going to benefit from that. And especially, like you said, they're putting their pay-per-views on YouTube for free. Guess who's watching it? I'm going to be watching it this weekend because AAA is a lot of fun. They're just crazy shows.
They are usually crazy shows, certainly worth keeping an eye out for as well. It looks like quite a tasty card as well. You mentioned some people that benefit. Los Garza currently AAA tag team champions as well, so it's really benefited them. So we'll see how it goes. Paul in the house says, welcome Paul, by the way, hope you're doing well, says WWE referee Charles Robinson hospitalized after being bitten by a bat. You don't like to see that. Wish him a very speedy recovery.
Charles Robinson is back
on the social. Absolutely. Hopefully some special powers, but all kidding aside, wish that him very well indeed. Roy says TNA open to moving to Wednesday nights to go head to head with Dynamite. That doesn't surprise me. Great comment from Roy there.
Don't do it.
I don't want them to do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened because lots of NXT losing to Dynamite. They've done it occasionally head to head on Tuesdays, but they don't really want to do it. They'd rather TNA be the one to suffer the L, surely.
Yeah, because it's not their company. So I think ultimately WWE has no say in what their TV schedule is. TNA need to be on a Thursday night where there's nothing else on because there's like Monday's Raw, Tuesday's NXT, Wednesday's Dynamite, Thursday's nothing major wise. Thursday is the spot for TNA, and they need to lock that down before WWE can even have a say over it. Let TNA get a TV deal first. Let it mature like a year or two before you even think about trying to put it up against AEW. It's not even on TV, so you can't go up on Wednesday straight away.
I mean, it is on TV in the States, but just not on a big network. It's not on perhaps some of the networks they may end up potentially being on after this, but we'll have to see what will go down. Christian helped cope. They're back as a tag team. I've seen that they are due to be together on the Forbidden Door show against Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne as well. Should be a fun little tag team match, that one. It's got to be great to see E and C back together.
Yeah, it's kind of making me want to sit there and dish out 150 quid now to go and watch the show, and I'm like, oh, do I really want to do it? Or I don't know. I'm thinking maybe just watch it around, but the fact that it's in London, it's down the road from me. I'm tempted, man. I'm really tempted.
Absolutely. 17 minutes in. I don't mind being honest with this. I'm not aware of. I have not seen Dynamite for a little while. Eddie Kingston returns to the ring for the first time since that brutal injury. That was nasty, that injury. Great if he is back. Of course, there has been moments Eddie Kingston during this injury had questioned whether to call it quits. I'm glad that he didn't and he stuck with it because Eddie Kingston's loved by many, and it would be great to see him back in an AEW ring.
Agreed.
Ray with another question for us. It's switched to the football. I'll keep it short as it's football, but he says he'll be happy with the Arsenal West Ham signings. He's a very happy Man United fan. I want to see a couple more players brought in, especially into the middle of the park. But yeah, Premier League football is back this weekend. Are you happy, Gunnar?
Controversially, I wanted Benjamin Sesko over Victor Gyökeres. I honestly think Gyökeres is going to flop, and I think that Man United's goal this year, Ray, is outscore everyone else. Forget about conceding goals. If we concede 2, we're scoring 3. And I think with Sesko, they're going to absolutely dominate this year. I'm gutted that they got Sesko over us. Arteta clearly obviously sees something different, but like I said, I'm happy to see United back, like have a decent front three where they can actually score goals again. As for us, I can't complain. I think we just need one more player, either a Rodrigo or an Eze, really, to fill out that left wing. But anyway, back to the wrestling.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, well, thank you, Ray. Though, anyway, hopefully it'll be fun for those that are interested in the Premier League to enjoy this weekend. Actually, quick question: Premier League. If there are Premier League fans here, comments below. Would you want to see a Premier League channel of some description? Just interesting. Be good to know if people are into.
I'm up for that.
Still Dre says they are setting John Cena and Brock Lesnar against All Out 2025. That is the rumors indeed. I believe that would be September 25th. Yeah. Question for you then. I mean, what are we expecting? A Bad Blood? Are we expecting a Fast Lane? What type of show are we going to spring upon us out of the blue?
Yeah. Bad Blood is probably the safest bet just because it's around about the same time they did it last year. Yeah, and it's going to be stateside. Like I was thinking it could have been a Saudi show just because we could have got an alternative time difference. I mean, worst case scenario, do you know what they'll end up doing? One of them super weekends where they have like an NXT show on the Saturday and the pay-per-view show on the Sunday, just because then they've got all the grounds covered. So I would expect both NXT and WWE to have a pay-per-view that weekend.
It'll be interesting to see what will happen and how it will go down, how it will play out. Where will it be? Will the times? Will the shows be on the exact same time? We get to know that information, but WWE are looking to counter AEW. The thing that I'd heard before was that they want the last say, so they happen to be on later than AEW. They want you to be talking about them at the end of the night. That's pretty much what they're after.
But AEW is going to be on like 2 hours longer, so regardless of whatever you do, Brock Lesnar versus Cena will finish, and guess what people will do? Turn over and go watch AEW.
Set your alarms. Get some caffeine in you. It's going to be a late night. Noob in the house says, how's everyone doing? We're doing very well, Noob. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well as well. And please get your questions in as well. Actually, I was hoping you'd be in this stream because if I think you might ask what I think you're going to ask, it's a topic I want to talk about. Ray says that ESPN will be paying WWE $325 million for PLE rights. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be crazy changes. You've got to have lots of, if you're in the States, you've got to have lots of different streaming services to now keep an idea of what's going on in the wrestling world. I do feel a bit sorry for the stateside. We just need to have Netflix and we're all right.
Yeah, they are getting the worst of it, and from what I hear, the ESPN subscription is like, because I think you have to have one subscription, and then ESPN is an add-on to that subscription, and it's going to be astronomical. Like, I feel they're almost segregating American fans from watching. It's only for Monday Night Raw as well. It's not even for SmackDown or NXT, I don't believe.
Well, their Raw will still be on Netflix over there. But the PLEs.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. So they're going to get the PLEs and what? SmackDown? Is that it?
No, SmackDown is on. It's on the USA Network. This is how crazy it is. It's like you have to go somewhere different for every single show. Where we just have one destination. I do feel sorry for the American fans. I'm not here to encourage, but I would not be surprised if VPNs become a thing for wrestling fans in 2026. I would not be surprised at all. Ray has said that he will always watch AEW over WWE if they're wrong at the same time. Fair play to you, Ray. Power to you as well. Hey, look, it's good to support A, first the underdog, B, alternative wrestling, and C, just if that's your preference, power to you. It's good to see.
Yeah.
Dennis is in house. Dennis Martinez says, "What's the tea?" Actually, I'm not
coffee
drinking at the minute, but yeah, he's a coffee one. He said, why is AEW being cancelled? It's WWE's idea, not ours, not our idea. Not our idea. They want to make sure they don't get another TV deal, according to Dave Meltzer. Ray says, AEW have the best characters in wrestling, i.e. Toni Storm. You could argue she is timeless. I actually am going to agree with this comment because I think Hangman Adam Page is the best book character in professional wrestling since 2019. The evolution and the journey that character has gone through from start to finish has been nothing short of exceptional. The way he's gone from breaking away from the elite to finally getting his first world title against Kenny Omega to going through the swerve stuff to then go and win the world title again now All In. Some just stuff that dreams are made of. It's incredible storytelling.
You can even go a little bit further back in his kind of bit part in being part of Bullet Club in New Japan or whatever. Like his rise to the top has been... It's been a long one, but the evolution of himself and everything he's done, like one of my favorite scenes from last year is still him sitting in front of Swerve's house while it's burning down, drinking a whiskey. For cinematography, it's fantastic. And in terms of like Toni Storm, she's going to be one of my top 5 women's wrestlers of the year this year. At the minute, currently sits number 1 because she's had a fantastic year.
I love those end of year awards. It's always a fun video. Keep an eye on it. And subscribe if you're new here, by the way. Dennis, I've not seen your name before, by the way. So if you're new and enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. Same for everyone as well. Hit the like button as well. Let's try and see if we can get more comments, more people involved during this chat as well. Spread us across the algorithms of YouTube. Dennis goes to say that AEW has great wrestling. The art form is really shown on each show. The last great match you saw was Cody and Cena at SummerSlam on WWE. I mean, there's great wrestling across the board. I think we are spoiled each and every week. When you go and watch some of these retro shows, you might find one great match amongst the calendar year. These days, we see multiple great matches on every given week, sometimes on every single show as well. We're quite fortunate.
Very true. Yeah, very true.
Absolutely. Charlie's in the house, top lad in here. Good to see you, Charlie. Hope you're doing well. My good friend, he does go on to say, I get why WWE would want to muscle AEW into the corner as much as possible. It does feel like a bit of an overreach, though. Feels like it would take more to do than it's worth. Completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the ship sailed. It's been too long. They need to do this back in 2019.
Yeah, and you know what the old saying is: you corner a dog and the dog bites back. But in this case, AEW's got a steel chair, and they just, do you know what I mean? You're gonna corner me, I'm just gonna come out swinging with a steel chair, and they're gonna do it, man. They ain't going nowhere. WWE is gonna be. I think WWE are gonna waste so much time and resources on trying to knock AEW down a peg. If you'd wanted to do this, you should have done it in 2019 when it started.
Absolutely, yeah, completely agree with that. And I don't think WWE are going to get their way, nor do I want them to get their way either. I should clarify that at this point of the video, because we do, it's mainly WWE related content on this channel at this point, more time related issues than anything else really when it comes to the other shows. But
we give AEW its props when they knock it out of the park with some of their stuff. Like I literally just said, the Hangman sitting in front of Swerve's house last year is one of my favorite moments from last year.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite moments in AEW history. In fact, I think it was incredible. James is going to say, are we happy that John Cena turned babyface? Controversially, yes, I am happy. Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why quickly? Because I know what everyone's going to say. It's a heel turn that's not worked. But the reason it's not worked is because there just was no layers to everything that followed up. You look at WWE Unreal, for example. There was supposed to be that Cena sold his soul to The Rock. That was the way it was implied, even when you're talking to them creative. We're not seeing The Rock since. Travis Scott didn't work out. Goodness knows what's happened there. And it just got to a point that the John Cena character, there was no motive really going forward of what they were trying to do as a heel. They turned him against the fans. It wasn't kind of working. And although it was very WCW 2000 to say, this ain't working, we're just going to pivot back to me being a babyface, I kind of like that they owned it as well and just kind of went, we've messed up here. This isn't right. We've got a few months left. Let's not waste anybody else's time. Let's get John Cena being back to the babyface. Because mentioned the comment above there, the match with Cody at SummerSlam was really, really good. And I'd argue that it's because we got that renewal of energy of John Cena being a babyface, plus then John Cena's mannerisms were different in a match against Cody. I think kill John Cena versus Cody at SummerSlam, it's not the same match, and I don't think it would have been as good. So for me personally, I am happy with it. And I think at this point, John Cena as the heel was fighting the established. We want to see John Cena fight the stars of tomorrow. That Brock Lesnar's not one of them. I'm granted with that one. But Logan Paul, again, not everyone's choice, but he's someone that's newer, something fresh. We've got time to have
champion.
He is a future, probably is a future world champion. But I can't believe I'm saying that sentence out loud. But like then you've got other people like Gunther potentially that could be there. Drew McIntyre could be another match. You've got Dominic Mysterio for the IC title could be something to go with there. That Braun Breaker. There are people that you can have John Cena face, and I think as a babyface that works. There are great people for him to take on at this point. So for me, I'm actually happy that he's turned babyface.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know on our SummerSlam review that was kind of all negative and gripey about it, but look, yes, it's the right decision to do. My biggest problem is just how they did it. It was like in a throwaway promo, like in a build to a street fight where Cody had turned around and delivered this great promo, and Cena comes out and he's all like, "Oh, I wasn't ready for this match. I told you I couldn't do this match," and it was like you could almost see like they just didn't care about. I don't know. It was almost like they were almost foreshadowing the Cody winning the title. And I said it was just how they did it on the. I think if they'd have done it during the match somehow creatively, I'd have been okay with it. It was just the way it was just thrown in there 2 days before this pay-per-view.
I think that's the thing as well. Like for me, had they done something more creative with it, I would be really on board with it, because then you think, right, okay, now I can see that there was a vision, there was a destination with it. The fact that we kind of have to say, oh, we screwed up, it is a bit disappointing, but that's why I think it's a controversial take that I'm happy with it, because I almost kind of like the fact that they owned it still. And I think that that's the thing that I can at least take some pleasure out of it. Yes, it's kind of Vince Russo booking in 2000. I will grantedly say that as well. But look, I think it's the right thing for everyone moving forward. And I think it makes the next few months a bit more bearable to watch, because I wasn't enjoying the heel run. I was a bit bored with every John Cena match I was seeing.
Yeah. No, I get that. I know what people are saying. They were bored of it, and for me personally, like I said before, it was the only sort of intriguing thing that made me want to watch John Cena. I will appreciate these last few months that we have with him for sure, but I said, like I said on SummerSlam, I was a bit annoyed just in general of how they'd played it all out. But look, he's the biggest star that they've ever produced. Ultimately, I mean, people will argue that Austin, Rock, I think Rock was more a case of he was the one to kind of transcend WWE into Hollywood, which made Cena the bigger deal for when he was a 17-time champion. Yeah, it's just one of them things. But look, I'm not going to gripe about it anymore. Like I said, what's done is done. It's just the kind of case of, look, let's move forward. Let's just move on and go with whatever they're going to roll out next.
Absolutely, indeed, there. And Charlie goes on to say as well, Cena turning face wasn't the smoothest transition in the world, but it was the right thing to do in his opinion. It's better just to rip the plaster off and get it done in that.
I don't know, but that plaster hurts.
Hey, I'm not a waxing kind of guy, and I can understand.
Definitely not.
James, you said it. I didn't say this. People in the USA can use the UK VPN, sign into Netflix, UK Netflix. Boom. There you are. Lots of
in the comment.
Pin that comment, absolutely. Noob, you knew what I wanted you to ask. What did you think of Asuka turning heel? It's not happened just yet, but it's on the way. Pretty much get the feeling we're going to get one of the best or greatest wrestling feuds ever. In ring, you certainly could be onto something there. Look, Asuka and Kairi Sane coming out during the Io Sky match on Monday Night Raw, costing Io Sky against Roxanne Perez. That was a pretty big moment because it looks like we are going to get damaged control from this point. It looks like we're going to get Io Sky versus Asuka again. Kairi Sane currently stuck in the middle, but looks like she was going to side with Asuka walking away from Io on Raw. I'm excited about the prospect, firstly, of a heel Asuka again. I think that there's much more going for her as a heel than as a babyface. Secondly, I think that maybe it gets Io and Rhea to be just on the same page for a tag team match in the meantime, gives them something to do before they can go off and have their blow-off match against each other, maybe in Australia. It's a little prediction from me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Io versus Asuka, and I think that certainly it's, we've not had the feud done properly. We've got all the signs here that Triple H could be just about to book that for us.
If we can get more Japanese in-ring promos with Asuka screaming baka 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 baka, yes, 100% look forward to it. Those Japanese promos, most entertaining thing I've seen in years, and I didn't understand a word they said, but it was funny as hell. And just for Io to turn around and call her a bitch in English was just fantastic. Look, at this moment, Asuka feels like she's starting to become very Big Show. Heel 1 minute, face the next. They kind of need to just pick one and stick with it, because otherwise she is going to be cemented with that kind of a run when it comes to heel face turns. Matches will be killer. Throw Kairi Sane in there as well. At some point we get a triple threat for a world title. That was my original prediction for WrestleMania this year when we did the predictions last year. So if we got that at some point, I'd be okay with it as well.
Yeah, I'm down for the triple threat. Wouldn't mind seeing that either. Sid asked, would you like to see WWE sign Danhausen when his contract is up?
Look, if they can fit him in somewhere, by all means. The guy can wrestle. The character he's kind of in there with like Mr. Iguana. Like if you book him right, he could be massively over.
I didn't realize that's a match I wanted to see until now. Danhausen versus Mr. Iguana. Sign me up.
100%. That's what you need, because you need Danhausen to curse the iguana now.
This is just fantasy booking of all sorts.
It's such an NXT match. It's an NXT match or a Triple Mania match for days, isn't it?
Absolutely. Look, the answer for me here, NXT, yes, main roster, no. But at the same time, him and CM Punk were really tight. I'm pretty sure they'd make some very entertaining TV as well. But CM Punk's in a bit of a personal feud at the moment. So NXT would be the right place. I'm not against seeing it happen, to be honest, because I'll be honest, when I first watched Danhausen, I didn't really fully understand him at first. But after a bit of time, no. Still trying, but I feel I get it a lot more now. I get the hype.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's what it is, isn't it? He's a draw.
He is indeed. Sid asking, do you agree with Tony Schiavone? MJF is the most hated man in all of wrestling.
Do I hate MJF? I don't think I do. I
don't.
don't. No, I don't. I don't. At the minute, I'm going to say no. I think that there's probably. Honestly, I think Seth Rollins is the biggest, most hated guy at the minute from stealing that title from CM Punk, and the fact that they keep winning every week. I think they've got to be close to being the most hated wrestler at the minute. I think MJF is just being MJF. Like, I don't see anything really different from him.
The thing is of MJF, he knows how to go to a dastardly level that can make you go, dude, that's a bit too far, but it's MJF, so we expect. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, this may be coming from a guy that is not watching enough AEW at the minute. But I've seen him join the Hurt Syndicate. I haven't seen him being kicked out yet of the Hurt Syndicate. I want to go back and watch that and see how all that played out. But for that reason, I didn't hate MJF enough during that time. The stuff with Mark Briscoe, though, was quite personal. That was a bit tasteless, let's say. But I
was MJF, though.
He always is, yeah. But I suppose let's do this. Let's do it this way. Tony Schiavone talks from one side. He's not going to talk of all of wrestling, even though he's going to say all of wrestling. He means all elite wrestling. MJF is the most hated in all elite wrestling, but at the same time, we love to hate him as well, because if he didn't do his shtick, we'd be disappointed as well.
Yeah, he's our bastard.
Pretty much. Ray says, all I want to see is Natalya wrestle in WWE and have an IC title run. I've been a fan of her for a long time. And asks as well, is she a future Hall of Famer? I'd say without question.
100%.
Without question.
Yeah. I've said this before. Natalya has her place on the roster, and I think not to criticize, but she has her place on the roster, and there is a reason why a lot of people aren't fond of her anymore, because she is of that previous generation where wrestling has evolved. But I still know what you mean. Natalya is still a draw. The problem is she's always used as like an interim champion recently, and it's kind of like, if you want to add some credibility to the IC title or the United States Championship, by all means put it on Natalya. She'll give that some credibility, but unfortunately I think she just has her place on the roster at the minute. And the fact that she's sort of branching out and going doing more stuff in like Josh Barnett's Bloodsport and stuff like that, I think is fantastic. I think it's almost a way for Natalya to reinvent herself,
and she's doing so. On Natalya Neidhart, I'm actually intrigued in being presented in WWE. The only problem I find is that WWE will still book her like Natalya. So this character will only thrive for so long. But I feel that the way that she's been presenting herself on the independent circuit, where it's NWA, like you said as well, Bloodsport as well, she's actually presenting herself in like, very tough in the ring, hard hitting. It's kind of what you would expect of someone that's been in the Heart Dungeon. So but she's a future Hall of Famer. She's had a heck of a career. She was a women's wrestler in the Divas era, and she helped transition all of the future. We've just done Takeover Brooklyn 1 as a retro review. It's retro though, it's 10 years old. It's a 10-year anniversary special. Probably better to go with that. We're releasing that in the next sort of few days on the channel. And Natalya was the one that would probably embed them in when they came to the main roster. And you've just seen people overtake it and take it to the next levels. But they've all wrestled Natalya. They've all been through Natalya. And she's had great matches of all of them. So absolutely, without question, she is indeed. Noob goes on to say, I think we're pretty much going to get Asuka versus Io. I know the tag match between the Kabuki Warriors and Rhea and Io would be fun, especially in Perth. That would be a fun place for it to happen as well, actually, Noob. I like that. But I think the story is between Asuka and Io, which would be good without others getting involved, with the exception of Kairi Sane being caught in the middle. Yeah, I still think we'll get the singles match as well. There's just layers you can do with this story, and I think that's what's fun, because Triple H loves a long story. This one could be done for the long term.
All I heard was Kairi Sane on a pole match.
We don't have to go complete Vince Russo. I know we mentioned about him once already in this video. Top lad, Danhausen, it's too good and too fun not to be used consistently somewhere to have a banging NXT run. I'd love to see him unleashed on the indies again as well. Absolutely would love to see it as well.
NXT, 100%. He'd be so over.
Do you know, it'd be really fun, like, to mention with TNA, like with Rosemary and the Undead Realm, like with the Sinister Minister, James Mitchell in there, just get him in amongst all that chaos. I think you'd have a lot of fun with that.
even a Santino Marella promo with Danhausen, Danhausen, or however you pronounce it, Danhausen. Do you know what I mean? It just there's so much comedy chemistry there that would just be honestly great TV gold.
I mean, there's a T-shirt for you coming up now. Curse the Cobra.
Oh my, yes, exactly. There you go.
Oh, so we've booked him for about 6 months of TV already.
100%.
Totally fixed. Racers, I would like to see Natalia have a storyline saying, I want to be IC champion like my uncle Bret Hart. That would be quite fun.
Yeah. Like, if anything, that's a good way to have a legitimate reason to challenge the title.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel very old as well. Take over Brooklyn, not 10 years. It's not 10 years ago today. It is next week. 7 days left. 7 days. Yeah. It's very painful. You might be better at this than I will. From Aries here. What are our thoughts on the WWE Evolve faction, the Vanity Project?
I hate them because they're so vain. They're generally they're so good at being heels, and it's irritating because I hate them because they're so vain, and it's such an egotistical group. The I forget, is it Jackson Drake that's the Evolve champion? He just looks like I think it's Jackson Drake. He just looks, whoever the Evolve champion is, he just looks like a mini Erling Haaland. We're back to the football reference here. And I hate Erling Haaland, so it just gives me more reason to hate him. I'm just like, I hate him, man. They do their job well. That's what they're meant to be. They're meant to be heels, so they're obviously doing something right if I don't like them.
I mean, I've only really seen him on NXT. I don't watch Evolve. Again, time restrictions and all that stuff. And I mean, go on.
Just to say, if you can get on NXT taping within like 2 weeks of being on Evolve, because I'm sure the tag team that were part of the Vanity Project, the what they call the prep boys or whatever, the pretty boys that go to varsity or whatever, the ones, they were on NXT TV within 2 weeks of being on Evolve, and I think if you've got that kind of aura and appeal, you can get on TV that quick. You must be doing something right.
Absolutely. To be fair, the Vanity Project is better named than Swipe Right. I was quite prepared to swipe left.
That's the one. Swipe right. Yeah.
Look, they're doing their shtick and they're doing it well. They've got quite punchable faces, so yeah, they're doing their shtick pretty good at this point. Is all I can say.
Yeah. Look. Just tell me that doesn't look like mini baby Erling Haaland. I just want to punch him in the face. Well done, Jackson Drake, for looking like someone I don't like.
There you go. Will Gokarez do better this season? We'll have to wait and see. Sid says, did you like the Natalia farting gimmick? It was so funny in Sid's opinion. He lulled every time he heard it. It's definitely a Vince McMahon thing.
When was this? I recall it, but I can't remember
time period. I don't remember.
Yeah, because this almost sounds like Nia Jax with my whole kind of thing. Like, it just sounds like a cheap joke that Vince would have absolutely pissed himself laughing at.
Absolutely. I don't think it was my cup of tea, if I'm being brutally honest, Sid, but I do think you might be trolling us, especially with your other comment that's come in. I can't stop playing Brie Mode theme. It's such a good theme.
Oh, whatever. Get out of here with your Brie Mode.
Sid, you can stick around, but we're not angry, just disappointed. That's all. Just disappointed. Top Lad says, what happened to my youth? Where did it go? Why does my back hurt all of a sudden? I've been asking.
I questioned that last one
a long time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. We're kind of up to date at the minute with the questions. So we're going to ask if you have any more questions to throw them in. Make sure the like button, share if and subscribe as well. But if you looked at the title of the video, we did promise we'd talk about one Karrion Kross. So we should do that at this moment. I think it's the right time to bring out Karrion Kross. He's not here, but the news is, of course, he was offered a contract by WWE last week. He announced on, I believe, Ariel Helwani on Wednesday that the contract was only for him and not for Scarlett. Very interesting turn of it. I think is why he's not agreed to it. But there are people out there suggesting that potentially this could all be a work but shooty work. And you can't blame, because R-Truth was released, then he was brought back, And then in the press conference, Triple H went, "So part of the show." So people are questioning whether it's real or not. And poor Karrion Kross and Scarlett, if it is legit, because it might be harming some of their bookings, because people might be reluctant to get hold of them. So I could kind of feel a bit sorry for them. But I want to know where you kind of stand on all this, because they had not signed a new deal. Then one was offered to Cross. It's not been signed as of yet. He has said on Ariawani that Cross and Scarlett would like to be back on Monday Night Raw. Would love to continue those talks if they can. It'd be interesting to see where this leads to. What do you feel? Is it a genuine release? Is it a work? Where do you stand?
I mean, look, I would love nothing more than for it to be a work. I think that because we're in that period where release, like this is what I call the Brian Pillman area, where look, you got he famously obviously talked himself out of getting released from WCW to go and sign for WWE. And it just feels very much like that. I think the actual thing as well with Cross was that I think they said to him, if you sign a contract first, then we'll sort out Scarlett's or something like that. We'll see if you re-sign first before we go and offer Scarlett on, which is a pretty shitty move, honestly, if that is true. But look, I think that they'd be stupid not to capitalize on the hype that he was building. And I know you haven't had the chance to watch it yet, but he talks about in the documentary he's just released about they told him to apparently ignore the fans when the fans were cheering for him, and he was cutting promos, and the one where he's standing in the crowd and they start going, "We want Cross," and instead of cutting his promo, he goes, "Well, now you got me," and the crowd just erupt for it. And apparently he was told, "Look, don't acknowledge it." And if you watch that documentary, I can't help but not be a fan of Karrion Kross, because this the good thing about this documentary is it humanizes both him and Scarlett, and it just makes me like the guy more, and I want to see him succeed more now because I've seen this side of him. And like you see all these interactions that he has with fans, and like it just like he's doing a book signing somewhere, and like he's asking them questions like, "Oh, what would you like to see me do?" Like he generally seems like he cares about what people think of him, and he just makes like this is I kind of put him in the same bracket for me as Ethan Page. Like I never really knew. I knew of Ethan Page, but then when I subscribed to his YouTube channel and you see him doing even like his silly things like his toy figure hunts or whatever, you see the human side of these people and they become more lovable and more believable, and like you just want to see the best for them. And like Ethan Page is tearing it up in NXT at the minute, and I can't wait for him to be on the main roster because I think he's gonna. Him and Chelsea Green at the minute is the greatest thing NXT have ever done in my eyes. But Karrion Kross, it gives me that same thing where I want to see the guy do well. I want to see him be on TV every week and be booked to the best of his abilities. But as much as I'd love to say it's a work, you ultimately just don't know. I mean, look, if this was a work, there's no harm in Triple H turning around and go, "Look, this is what we're going to do. Go take indie bookings. Go work for Josh Barnett. Go do Bloodsport. Go work in TNA. Go do whatever, wherever. Hell, go and make an appearance in AEW as a one-off. Why not? Go and do it. Contractually, he might still be employed by WWE, but there might be something in it where he has this freedom to go do these things because they want people to believe he is a free agent. And as soon as Sami Zayn wins that world championship, who's going to be the first guy that turns up? Karrion Kross. I would love to see them do it. But then ultimately, I'd want to see Kross win the title. But if you're going to do it as that point where you want that guy to come back, what is the perfect moment when Sami Zayn wins that world title? Especially since obviously KO's out. You want a match for Karrion. You want a match for Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Sami wins the title in Saudi Arabia, for example. Karrion Kross is his challenger for WrestleMania. Why not?
I'm open to the idea. I mean, put it this way: the guy has got himself organically over. He did start with an FU on a podcast, but it got him somewhere. It's got him more TV time. He's got himself over. He got himself on the SummerSlam. Got him 2 PLEs as well. So he's done well. But yeah, it's not re-signed. Should it be a work? Now, I heard this on WGP, Gorilla Position. So the great podcast, do weekly stuff, and I think it was James on there that was speaking, was talking about if Cross, if it was a work, then he should be doing what they did with the KO heel turn on Cody. If you remember, after I think it was, I think it might have been after Bad Blood last year, where they didn't film anything of KO attacking Cody in the car park. They relied on fans to get footage, and they used that footage for their social platforms and stuff, and they built on the hype of that. So if you have Cross in and around the towns where the shows on Monday Night Raw is going on, perhaps being outside the arena, maybe sitting to buy a ticket, be in the crowd or whatever, get the fans to do it and just don't acknowledge it. Don't acknowledge anything. And putting into yours, if you have them do appearances elsewhere, what's to say of the thing of, look, I'm here on this indie show, but where do where we want me to be? You don't want to do on Monday Night Raw. Maybe it's a bit disrespectful to independent promoters, but if they've got, for example, Karrion Kross for a night and they know it's a little bit of a worky workplace, it's a little bit okay to maybe do something along that line. But maybe they could do that to build it up. But I've always thought if they were to do something like this, it needs to go on for months. It can't just go on for like a couple of weeks. When CM Punk left WWE in 2011, he came back with the championship 3 weeks later. Like, it wasn't really long enough to let the story breathe and do what they need to do. But I understand a SummerSlam's a SummerSlam. You need a main event. So it's interesting. I mean, Cross can really continue to build that reputation at this particular time and moment. But I was inclined to believe it was a work. I'm starting to feel like it's not a work. But then at the same time, for him to go on Errol Hawani and say it's not a work, if it was a work, that's what someone would say if it's a work.
Yeah.
So,
like, don't be wrong. If this is a work, the Unreal Season 2 for next year is going to be crazy. Because like you said, if this is going to go on for months, Royal Rumble is what? 4 or 5 months away.
Yeah.
He could easily go to independent wrestling programs, win a title here. Don't do a Monet and go around to 7 different companies and win all their titles and then conveniently drop them all around January, because that'd just be dumb. But go to I don't know, go to what's the one that's run by Al Snow? OVW. Go OVW, be their champion for a couple of months. Drop that title. Do you know what I mean? Just start putting yourself around these places, because he's still got draw factor on him because he's an ex-WWE star. If anything, he still could be he could still be contracted to the WWE right now, so he's not losing money. He can take whatever money, donate it to charity. Do you know what I mean? Use it as a tax write-off. Oh yeah, I made this appearance for this wrestling company, this money, whatever, donate to charity, because he's still getting paid from WWE. You go 5 months down the line, Sami Zayn wins, like I said, the World Championship in the opening match of the Royal Rumble, or ideally the main event, whatever. Karrion Kross comes out number 30, wins a Rumble, challenges Sami at WrestleMania. Or, do you know what I mean? Elimination Chamber, mystery opponent number 6. Ideally, I'd want to see it. You kind of want the Rumble win, because you get the Rumble return pop, him winning, and inevitably what's going to happen on Raw the following night. Whereas if you go with the chamber route, it's kind of a bit long-winded and struggle, whatever. There is ways of doing it, but I agree with you. If they're going to work this, it needs to be 4 or 5 months. And they both get, if it is a work, they're both still getting paid. They're not losing money. The thing is as well, is he's got a book to promote as well. So essentially, he's taking time off anyway to do a book tour. So he was always going to have the time off for that. So
it's interesting that you mentioned that. And you mentioned WWE Unreal as well. You don't know what to believe anymore now that's been released at the moment. It's just completely thrown everything open and wide open. And maybe that's a good thing. A
lot of people pooped all over this because it was ruining or breaking kayfabe. And it's like, look, you and me know that there's a certain TV show that we need to review that's back from 30 odd years ago that was kind of the real breaking point where it went, pro wrestling may not be as real as you think it is. I genuinely I loved it just for the sheer. Again, it humanizes a lot of people. Don't get me wrong; they had all the big names. They had your CM Punks and your Triple H's and whatever. But when you see that side of Rhea Ripley when it shows her vulnerability and how she may be this super mega star, and like it's not a case she's one of the biggest women stars. She's one of the biggest stars that WWE have, but you see that side of her that puts her like, it almost makes like she's human. She's like us. She's not anything different. She still goes through these things that many people go through every day. And I love seeing that human side of people, because it just makes me love them more. It makes me want to back them more. It makes me want to see these people succeed well in whatever they're doing. So I know a lot of people hate Unreal, but I love it, man. I think it was great. Don't get me wrong, there is some stuff in there like Xavier Woods basically confirming that Big E is never returning to wrestling by the looks of it, and then obviously they show the bits with the Tiffany Charlotte promo where they kind of went off script, but again you see how Triple H how they handled those situations where they forced Tiffany to go and apologize to Charlotte. Again, if this was a normal working business, these would be things that would happen in a normal workplace. It's just because it's this thing that's been going around for 40, 50 odd years now, WWE, and like I said, people think it's breaking kayfabe. Kayfabe broke 30 odd years ago. It's just a lot of people don't want to. Some people just still don't want to see behind the curtain. But look, there's people out there that don't even want to watch wrestling. They just go online to find the spoilers. They want to know who the big returns at the Royal Rumble is. They want to know who the main event for WrestleMania is without watching the product. So you can't have it one way and like not the other. You can't say that this show breaks kayfabe and ruins pro wrestling, but then go online and find out who's going to be facing who at the next big show, who's going to be future world champions, because, do you know what I mean? It's 50% of one and half of another. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Especially, I mean, I really liked the Tiffany and Charlotte stuff because so many reports went around it from the time for days and days and days. You got the answer, or you got WWE's version of the answer of how that was handled and what the truth of it, the matter of the crust of it is. So you actually got the answer to it. And some people were proved right, some people were proved wrong, and it's that was interesting for me. And like you say, it was a bit of WWE24 in places, a bit more like a following certain wrestlers and stuff. But you had interesting takes as well. I mean, how interesting to see the 6 men in the Elimination Chamber sitting around talking to the match producer and stuff, and how they're going to do the finish of the match. And basically, Seth, CM Punk, and Drew all collaborating together, and you sit and go,
"Yep."
Well, these dudes already hated each other, but they're that much of pros. They may not like each other, but they can work really, really well together on the screen, and they actually can still work together off screen as well.
They're willing to do business, yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So, I mean, there is some really good stuff that's come from Unreal. I don't think it's groundbreaking as people say it was, just purely on the basis because
the only other thing I appreciate about it was the fact that they talk about who should have won certain matches. Like, for instance, I think they said Seth. I think KO was meant to be the one to dethrone Cody and all this other stuff. And when they were talking about Punk at WrestleMania, that a lot of people thought Punk winning should be the one. Punk should win at WrestleMania in the triple threat. But these are all the things that you like to see, because you like to. It's nice to know that these people who decide what they put out on the television, a lot of them have the same thought process as us, but they're willing to take that gamble and take that right turn and just go completely swerve off and go with a different angle. Again, I just think it's refreshing to see that you and me sit here and we fan book a load of stuff like over the last couple of years, and it's just nice to see that sometimes they do genuinely have the same thoughts as us.
Yeah, sometimes they do. It was funny with the Chelsea Green coming out as number 30, winning the Rumble. Amount of times that's been booked on this channel. It's just it's mad, but it's fun as well at the same time. Look, I was just going to say a minute ago, I don't think it's the most groundbreaking show, but I don't think this show was actually meant for us, because we know what goes. We don't know every specific thing that was behind the curtain. We got a lot of answers to things we didn't know, but we know that the stuff's predetermined. We know that there's match producers. We know that there's gorilla position talking to the ring, giving directions of how things are going to go. But for non-wrestling fans, that was all very interesting and probably stuff that people haven't seen before. So it's kind of like, that's cool. I actually enjoyed seeing the in-depth of the match producer, particularly the match on the first one with Abyss, with the match that went overtime with Punk and Rollins, because you could see Abyss, bless his cotton socks, was really wanting to make Bruce Pritchard proud, but it upset him. I thought that was fascinating to watch that. I was like, I'm gripped with this bit.
Even Jason Jordan producing the triple threat at WrestleMania, the women's triple threat, arguably one of the best matches WWE have put on all year. To see Jason Jordan have that reaction to such a killer match, and you know what I mean? I agree with that, man. Again, you see the human side of these people, and like you said, Abyss, who's this guy who's been in TNA most of his career, is now a producer for WWE, and he's concerned about going over by like 90 seconds in a wrestling match because he wants to do right and all this kind of stuff, and he's worried about the backlash. But look, it all worked out in the end. And like I said, it's great seeing the human side of these people.
Certainly is indeed. And just as a last final thought, I mean, episode 4, just the Elimination Chamber in general, seeing all the operation of what they do to working into that heel turn with John Cena and how it all came about. That was a fascinating watch as well.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't play out the way it was meant to, it was fascinating seeing it there. I kind of hope there's a follow up for season 2 on what the hell went wrong.
But that's like the Edge documentary that they put on the Netflix on the network a couple of years ago, where he talked about his return at the Rumble and only like a handful of people knew about it. This is exactly the same thing. Again, really refreshing to see that these 6 people, I think it was Rock, Cena,
Cody,
Triple H, Pritchard, and Nick Khan. Do you know what I mean? 6 people knew that they were going to do it. And then obviously you see Triple H trying to produce the show and be like, this is what's going to happen. Just if like Triple H is obviously like bricking it, thinking like this has to go right. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, initially it comes off very well, but obviously 3 months down the line it didn't work out so well. But the fact that we see it and how they produced it, it's just refreshing, man. Really good to see.
Certainly was really good to see indeed. Let's go back into the comments quickly and then we'll wrap things up here today. Top Lad says, I don't believe it's a work with Karrion Kross, but the only thing that gives me a pause for thought is how often he says he wants to stay in WWE. Creates weird optics if you wanted a run somewhere else. Absolutely. I suppose it's his top choice, though, is to be in WWE. But yeah, we'll have to see what's going to play out. We have to see what's going to happen here. And also, apparently the farting gimmick was in 2012. Interesting.
The fact that you remember that, I can't even remember it. Like, it's just such a Vince joke.
Absolutely. Well, credit to Ray for remembering it. Thanks for giving us the facts. And also, speaking of good themes, most underrated theme, Danhausen's AEW theme is so good. Wish he could take that with him if he went elsewhere. Very good theme indeed. What would you say is the most underrated theme in wrestling for you?
Oh, I love the Lucha Kings entrance music that Phoenix and Penta had in AEW. I thought it was fantastic. I think I'm trying to think main roster now. Give me 2 seconds while I just have a look on my Spotify, because I'm sure I have something on my Spotify playlist that will sit there and go to me, yeah, do you know what? That was a really underrated song. And I know I've got half a dozen on here. Like, that I'm always a fan of Cassius Ohno, Joe Gacy's old one. Kyle O'Reilly's, I think, was great as well before he got released. Yeah, look, man, there's so many. Mustache Mountains. Like I said, I think it's hard for me to pick one. I think there was quite a few that are very underrated. But look, I'll always bang on about Baron Corbin's original one. I think it was just the best representation of him.
Yeah, love his Lone Wolf one. Obviously, Drew McIntyre, Broken Dreams, another great song as well.
Yeah.
But I'd say most underrated, because I don't think a lot of people ever say that they like this one. It's a current one, and I actually think it's a bit underappreciated. It's not with a well-liked superstar. That might be the reason why. I like Logan Paul's Humble theme entrance song.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not like, I know what you mean. I can understand it. I tell you what, I know a lot of people are ripping on it, but I really like Becky Lynch's new one. I said this to you weeks ago that she needs a new song, and now she's finally got one. It's a bit Sheamus-y, where it's kind of like you can tell she's Irish by listening to it, but I think it's so much better than her original one, man. And I'm glad she's got a new one. I know, like I said, a lot of people are hating on it because they really liked her old one, but give it time. I think this new one will grow on to you. But again, the whole Def Rebel, the man has come around thing, where it's like, get over it, man. Just produce decent music. Don't give us these audio cues that tell us who it is, like DIY or whatever.
I completely agree with that. Totally. I'll tell you what, there's one more underrated, just because just the odd songs that will come in my head. Samoa Joe WWE run. The bam bam bam. Just, you knew Joe was coming. And it just was perfect for the Joe chance as well. You knew bad stuff was about to happen when you heard that. It's not just the one that you want to listen to on Spotify, but you knew bad stuff was coming. And Top Lad says Baron Corbin's OG was so good. And this is a Rogue sounds right. Lana's single theme of Ravishing is a low-key bop. Yeah, do you know what? I agree with that as well.
I'm trying to remember it. I think is that the one with the saxophone playing over it? Possibly.
Yes. Sorry, I accidentally hit my mic on mute. I don't know why I did that, but there you are. It's fixed now. But I think we're going to call it there, ladies and gents. I think we've got through most of the wrestling topics this week, apart from the amazing hat that Xavier Woods wore on Raw a couple of weeks ago. That hat just keeps getting bigger.
Fabulous hat. Like, I honestly, when he wore it, I sent you a screenshot and I went, this may be the greatest thing that WWE puts out this year is Xavier Woods and that hat.
New Day are awesome with this morning of losing the tag team titles. It's truly working. They got to keep going with it as long as possible. And that hat needs to keep getting bigger. I need him to be able to not get through
every week, just bigger and bigger.
Absolutely. I need. Do you know what he needs is people helping carry the hat because it's too big.
It needs to be 20 by 20 and as big as the wrestling ring.
Make it happen. Okay. And quick shout on Naomi. Her and Jimmy Uso have been on the Stephanie McMahon podcast. I've not heard the official result of everything, but of course she's not cleared currently to compete. She has spoke about wanting to start a family. I've seen a clip of that, hoping to catch the whole thing. But does it look like? Do you think that perhaps maybe she could be about to drop that championship? Maybe it could be going somewhere else.
It may be unfortunate timing, but at the end of the day, I think anyone would give up a title to have a child. And you kind of have to be a bit weird and not give up a child for a title. But look, if she is, congratulations. If she's injured, hopefully all the best and get well soon. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just a lot of people playing guessing, really. Like, look, we needed a WWE Unreal series on whether Naomi is pregnant or not.
I can't believe I need Unreal Series 2 already. That's all I'm going to say with that. But I completely agree with your sentiments. You know, if she's pregnant, congratulations. If she's injured, wish her a speedy recovery. And we'll look forward to the day that she's back in ring. But I do like the fact that she said, like, Becky Lynch was an inspiration. Like, you know, the fact that she's able to start a family and come back to the ring, something you probably couldn't do many years ago, but you can do now, which is really, really good to see. Yeah. Final couple of ones here then. Top Lad says, yes, the saxophone. It is a part of Lana's Ravishing song. I shouldn't like it as much as I do. Embrace it. We're here to embrace the music that we probably shouldn't like, but we do. Our guilty pleasures. And do you know what? There are guilty pleasures, and we're down with it. Ray says, Sheamus theme written on my face is the best. It's a good one for sure. One of the last.
I always get the Sheamus ones confused.
It's a shame that they lobster face
okay,
one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Classic for sure. Probably one of the last great Jim Johnston themes. But we're going to wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for keeping us company for the last hour or so. Are WWE trying to cancel AEW? It seems like they're trying to do so. Dave Meltzer's reports are suggesting that they want TNA for the next number 2 position. Like you said, will they succeed then, Nick Steve? No, I don't think they succeed. But that's what they're trying to do. We'll have to see what happens. Will John Cena be counteracting every AEW show between now and the rest of the year? Time will tell on that one as well, but it seems to be the rumors going around. But if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share with a friend, subscribe as well. Thank you all for your wonderful questions, comments, and interactions. Big thanks to the man next to me as well, NX Steve. It's great to have you on the hot seat as always. And make sure to keep an eye out for the channel. There'll be more content dropping later this week and probably a few shorts as well. So keep an eye out for those. Take care, look after yourselves and each other. We'll see you for the next one.